Hi there. Today we will present our project under the topic Study and Implementation of a Network Supervision Solution, Nagios. We are following this plan. So we're gonna start with small introduction, then supervising, Nagios, Nagios Operation, supervising network protocol, demo, and finally we will end with the conclusion and we will give some reference. We start about introduction to Nagios. Currently, all companies are equipped with a minimal local network and long-distance networks for the largest. Their computer parks cover a dozen or 100 devices generated by database service and processing services. As the IT systems are at the heart of the company's activities, their control becomes essential. They must function fully and continuously to guarantee the required reliability and efficiency, and especially strive to reduce downtime, failures, outages, and various technical problems that can cause considerable losses. That's why network administration uses network monitoring and supervision software to check the network status of the entire IT estate under their control in real time, and to be informed automatically by email, SMS. In case of problem, thanks to such a system, response time are greatly reduces and anomalies can be dealt with immediately before a user even sees them. Now with some history of Nagios. In 2022, latest version of Nagios. Also, first version of Nagios. In 22 and 6, in 2000, sorry, and 6, Nagios version 2.0. In 2008, Nagios version 3.0, and finally in 2050, current version Nagios 4.0.8. We will now go to the problem we were facing before Nagios Operate. We were having a very large number of services to manage. The administrator is enabled to check their availability online or not to determine the quality of service they offer. No detected the failure of equipment, CPU load, memory status on disk load. So the solution is using service Nagios. Afterwards, we give some definition of supervising. So network monitoring consists in controlling the proper function of the network and the IT services connected to your infrastructure. This network monitoring will allow you to report digital data on different subjects, its operation, flows, connection, security, and flow exchanges. We will pass a supervision objective. The objective of a network supervision can be summarized in the 3 points. Firstly, to be reactive by alerting the administrator, email or SMS, in case of dysfunction of a part of the information system. Secondly, be proactive by anticipating possible breakdown. And finally, target the problem as soon as it appears in order to act quickly in the most relevant way possible. We pass now a future of Nagios. Nagios has several features that make it a powerful network supervision solution. host and service monitoring, network protocol monitoring, event handling, reporting and visualization, notification, and we have also other features like scalability, extensibility, web interface, etc. We start about definition of host and service monitoring. That is to say, Nagios can monitor the availability and performance of hosts and services on a network. This includes checking for ping response, checking service states and availability, and monitoring system resources such as CPU and memory usage. Network protocol monitoring, which means Nagios can monitor network protocols such as SMTP, HTTP, and FTP to ensure that they are function correctly. Event handling means Nagios can handle events such as service failures and recoveries, and it can take appropriate action such as sending notification or running scripts. Notification. Nagios can send notification via email, SMS, or other methods when a problem occurs. It can also send recovery notification when a problem is resolved. Reporting and visualization. In this future, Nagios can generate performance graphs and reports to help users understand the health of their systems over time. When we're done with the future of Nagios, we will move on the benefits. Nagios is a popular open source monitoring tool that can be used to monitor the availability and performance of various network and services resources. Some of the benefits of using Nagios include real-time monitoring, historical data, open source, and alerting and notification. We start about definition of real-time monitoring. Nagios can continuously monitor the availability and performance of resources, alerting administrators to potential problems before they become critical. Customizable alert. Nagios allows administrators to set custom alerts, thresholds, and notification. Make it easy to be notified of issues that are specific to their environment. Plugin. Nagios has a large library of plugins that can be used to extend its monitoring capabilities. Make it easy to monitor a wide variety of resources. There are also some benefits such as easy to use, scalable, reporting, cost-effective, and community. To explain how Nagios works, we had to know this architecture. Nagios is a client-server basic monitoring system. The main components of the Nagios architecture are Nagios core. This is the heart of the Nagios system and is responsible for scheduling checks, processing checks results, and sending alerts. It's run on a center service and communicate with other components of the system. Plugins. Nagios uses plugins to perform various checks on resources. These plugins can be written in any language and are executed by the Nagios core. They return such information to the Nagios core, which is used to determine the overall status of the resource. NRPE, Nagios Remote Plugin Executor. NRPE is an add-on that allows Nagios to execute plugins on remote hosts. This allows Nagios to monitor resources that are located on other systems. In SCA, Nagios Service Check Acceptor. In SCA is also an add-on that allows Nagios to accept passive check results from remote systems. This allows Nagios to monitor resources that are not able to initiate active checks. Nagios Web Interface. This is a web-basic interface that provides a convenient way to view the status of the resources and configure Nagios. External commands. Nagios also supports external commands, which can be used to send commands to Nagios from external scripts or interfaces. Overall, Nagios architecture is designed to be modular, scalable, and extensible. This allows administrators to easily add new resources to the system and customize to the monitoring to meet the specific needs of their environment. Now we will discuss Nagios configuration file. In Nagios, the configuration files are used to define the resources that are monitored, to checks that are performed, and the alerting settings. The main Nagios configuration file is typically called nagios.cft, and it is located in the Nagios configuration directly. This file contains global settings for Nagios, such as the location of other configuration files, the user and group that Nagios should run as, and the location of the Nagios plugins. In addition to the main configuration file, there are several other configuration files that are used to define specific aspects of Nagios, such as cge.cfg means web interface control and security option, command.cfg command used by Nagios for checking. Also, this file is usually called command configuration, and it contains the definition of the commands that are used to perform checks on resource. Also, we have nagios.cfg mean configuration file, conf.d means all other configuration. We have also contact configuration. This file is usually called contacts.cfg, and it contains definition of the contacts that are used to receive alerts. And finally, we have resource configuration. This file contains the resource that the Nagios servers need to run, like the path of plugins. All of the above mentioned configuration files are text files that can be edited manually using a text editor. However, it is important to be careful when making changes to these files, as the mistakes in the configuration can cause Nagios to stop working. I pass the floor to my dear friend Saida Obelut.
Plugins are executable program or script, peer, shell, etc. that can be run from a command line to test a host or service. The output of a plugin is used by Nagios to determine the status of hosts or services on the network. A number of plugins have already been created to monitor that's what I mentioned before. To monitor basic resources such as CPU load, hard drive, free space, ping return rates, etc. And there is a figure that define more the process of plugging, and also a code example of code plugging. Now we will pass on Nagios Operation. Nagios Operation. Nagios is an open source network monitoring system that can be used to monitor the availability of various network resources such as servers, switches, applications, and services. It uses plugin plugin to collect data from monitored hosts and services and can send alerts when problems occur. Nagios works in four main stages: monitoring, data processing, sending alerts, managing alerts. Monitoring. Nagios use plugin to collect data from the hosts and services being monitored. These plugins can be run locally on the Nagios server or remotely on the monitored hosts. Data processing. Once the data has been collected, Nagios analyzes in four problems. It can use predefined rules and thresholds to determine if there is a problem. Sending alerts. If Nagios detects a problem, it can send alerts to administrator via email notification, instant messages, or SMS messages. Managing alerts. Once alerts have been received, administrator can review them and takes action to resolve the issue. That Nagios can also provide detailed reports or on alert history and performance trends. It is important to note that Nagios is a complex tool that requires proper configuration and administration to function effectively. We move now to talk about supervising network protocols. So Nagios can supervise also network protocols such as HTTP, DNS, EP, and FTP. To monitor several network protocols using Nagios, the following steps can be followed. Install and configure Nagios. Must be installed on a server, and it must be configured to monitor the desired host services and network protocols. Configure the monitoring checks. Nagios can be configured to check the availability and performance of network protocols on a regular schedule. This can be done by editing the configuration files and setting up the appropriate checks and notification. Add the network protocols to the monitored. Nagios can monitor several network protocols such as SNMP, TCP, UDP, FTP, HTTP, HTTPS, SMTP, etc. The appropriate checks and notification must be set up for each protocol. Test the configuration. Before deploying Nagios in a production environment, it is important to test the configuration and ensure that it is working correctly. This can be done by manually running checks and monitoring the result. Deploy Nagios. Once the configuration is tested and working, Nagios can be deployed in a production environment. This involves running the Nagios daemon on a service and configuring the web interface to access the monitoring data. Monitor and maintain the protocol. Nagios requires the regular maintenance to ensure that it is continues to function correctly. This includes updating the configuration as necessary, monitoring system logs for errors, and ensuring that all components are up to date and running smoothly. Customize and extend it as needed. Nagios can customize to fit the needs of different organization and environment. This can be done by creating custom plugin and scripts to monitor specific services or network protocols. It is also important to note that it's important to have a clear visibility of the protocol, hosts, and services that are going to be monitored and to have a clear understanding of the protocol's behavior in order to create the right checks and notification. So now we will show a demonstration of our project. So in this demo, we will explain all about Nagios web interface, and concerning the installation steps, we had already treated it in the practical lab. So after we finished the installation of our Nagios server on Ubuntu, now we can access to the web interface of Nagios by find our address AP, and for that, we're gonna write in the terminal the following command: ifconfig, and here we are. This is our address AP. We will copy it and pass it in our browser, followed by Nagios. Now we're gonna sign in using the username and the password chosen before during the installation of our Nagios server. In our case, the username is Nagios admin, as shown here. Here we add our password. So finally, this is the Nagios web interface. It is running. That means that our installation and configuration of Nagios was done successfully. And here, if you notice, we didn't work with the latest version of Nagios to avoid installation problems. Here I checked that all the hosts that already added for monitor is still available, and to check their status also. So for example, here we have 3 hosts: desktop, HP laptop, and localhost. For the desktop and localhost, their status is up, and for the HP laptop, status is down. If we click under the desktop, we find more information about our host, like IP address, like the address IP, and the statue. The statue, as you see here, it's up. Here we see the different services that Nagios can monitor. Like you see here, drive space, CPU load, Explorer, memory usage, NS client ++ version, uptime, etc. And also the status of each services, each service that we have. Here we see the status also of all the active check, for example, and passive check, etc. Here for the HP laptop, we have the status is critical for all the services that we have. For example, MNT partition critical, current load also critical, current user root partition, total processes. So all this service here, their status is critical. This is more information about HP laptop, his address IP, his status. Here is information about our local host, also his address IP. 127.0.0.1. He set US up, and here the most important thing in Nagios. And finally, we will end with a small conclusion. A network monitoring software like Nagios is essential for an administrator. When the network becomes complex, it allows him to have a global view and in the real time on the whole computer park. But they requires a configuration that also becomes quite complex depending on the level of supervising that the administrator wishes to set up. But you should not believe that the installation and configuration of the supervising solution is very easy to set up in a large company. There are a lot of more functions to add to our project, such as notification, but we had a lot of problems such as permission issue, where the user does not have sufficient permission to install or run Nagios. Configuration issue where the Nagios configuration files are not set up correctly. Port conflicts where another service is using the same port that Nagios is configured to use. Compatibility issue where Nagios is not compatible with the version of the operation system or other software being used. So, in every time the server is down, for our case, and we repeat again all the work, that's why we don't have much time to add other things that are also important. And there is some reference that we use to um, create our project. Thank you so much.